Fire, have you ever wondered why you're still standing still while others keep moving forward? Thinking face, surely, you've heard about the necessity of taking action, but do you truly dare to face your fears and step out of your comfort zone? Collision, today, I'm going to share with you a truth that will make you rethink the way you've lived and acted until now. Watch the first 30 seconds, because I'm about to show you something crucial that you can't miss if you want to change your life. Warning, don't miss out. Let's explore the power of action and how it's the only thing that can help you achieve the great things you've always dreamed of. If you watch just a little and then skip, you'll never be able to reach success. Push pin, don't leave. This video could be the turning point you need to change everything. Let me say this once and remember it forever. Yes, we need women, but if you chase after them instead of chasing your goals, then I invite you, leave this game immediately. I know that sounds cold. Some will get angry. Some will feel hurt. But for me, someone who has been to the bottom of failure and stood at the top of success, this is the only truth you need to accept if you truly want to reach the pinnacle of your life. I'm not sitting here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm sitting here to tell you the truth. Because the truth, though bitter, is what will save you from wasting your life. I used to be like you. I once thought that if I had a great girl by my side, everything would be okay. I used to put all my effort, time, and money just to impress a girl. I forgot that. Backhand index pointing right, success doesn't come from pleasing others. Backhand index pointing right, success comes from pleasing yourself, conquering yourself, and keeping the promises you made to your dreams. I had to pay a price, a very high price. I lost opportunities. I missed out on precious years. I had to start over from scratch with nothing in my hands except 2 empty hands and a broken heart. But today, I tell you from my heart, you don't have to go through all the pain I went through. You can choose right now. Direct hit, pursue your goals. Direct hit, become a man of value. Direct hit, and then, when you're strong, when you walk confidently on your path, amazing women will naturally be attracted to you. But if right now, you're still focusing on conquering relationships instead of conquering yourself, then sorry, this video, this story, this journey is not for you. Rocket Chapter 1. The world doesn't wait for anyone who loses focus. When I was 20, I thought I was invincible. You know that feeling, when you're young, full of energy, and believe you can do anything. I dreamed of a glorious career. I painted grand pictures, but I made the biggest mistake of my life. I let my heart lead the way instead of using my mind. At first, it was great. Sweet messages, late-night conversations, beautiful promises like poetry. I started procrastinating on work to spend time with her. I ignored unfinished projects just to answer endless calls. I turned down collaboration opportunities just to be with her on weekends. I told myself, I'm balancing everything. Love will fuel my career. A wonderful person will help me go further. But the truth? The truth is I suffocated my own dream. No one made me do it. I chose that path because I forgot one ultimate principle. People only respect you when you respect your own path. This world doesn't wait for anyone. Opportunities don't knock twice. If you're not ready, opportunities will look for someone else. And me? I stood there, watching opportunities slip through my fingers. I stood there while my peers advanced, and I was stuck, drowning in impulsive emotions. If you think you can chase after things that distract you and still achieve great success, let me tell you straight, you're deceiving yourself. No one can serve 2 masters at the same time. You only have one heart, one mind, and one source of energy every day. Will you spend it on your dream, or will you waste it on trivial pursuits? You decide. Collision, this is just the introduction and Chapter 1, my friend. If you like this style, I'll continue with Chapter 2, the bitter story of failure, extremely emotional and real. Backhand index pointing right, do you want me to continue with Chapter 2? Just reply, continue writing, Fire. I'm really excited to dive deeper into this for you. Rocket, we'll dive straight into Chapter 2, where everything starts falling apart, a chapter full of emotions and real-life experience, just like you requested. Let me know if you need any further modifications. Chapter 2, the bitter failure story. Sitting there in the darkness, I wondered if life was truly fair. The echoes of my wrong decisions still resonated in my mind. But I knew I couldn't keep avoiding the truth. I remember the time before everything collapsed. Those were the days when I thought I could overcome anything just because I believed in promises and grand dreams. I put everything into love, into relationships, into the people around me. But I didn't realize that sacrificing too much for temporary things would cause me to lose myself. At first, everything was great. Sweet texts, late-night talks, promises as beautiful as poetry. But I didn't realize that this sacrifice was only suffocating my dreams. No one forced me to do this. I chose that path because I forgot a fundamental rule. People only respect you when you respect your own path. The world doesn't wait for anyone. Opportunities don't knock twice. If you're not ready, opportunities will find someone else. And me? I stood there, watching opportunities slip through my fingers. I stood there as my peers advanced, while I was stuck, drowning in impulsive emotions. If you think you can chase distractions while achieving greatness, let me be blunt, you're lying to yourself. No one can serve two masters at the same time. You only have one heart, one mind, one energy each day. Will you spend it on your dreams or on chasing fleeting things? You decide. Collision, this is just the introduction in Chapter 1. If you enjoy this style, I will continue with Chapter 2. The bitter failure story, extremely emotional and real. Backhand index pointing right. Do you want me to continue with Chapter 2 right now? Just reply, continue writing, fire. I'm really excited to continue and give you something extraordinary. Rocket, we're diving straight into Chapter 2, where everything starts to fall apart. A chapter full of emotions and real-life lessons. Exactly what you've been asking for. Rocket Chapter 2, the bitter failure story. Remember that day? I sat alone in my tiny room, the yellow light flickering down onto the cold floor. Outside, the world kept turning, but inside, time seemed to stop. My phone was silent. My inbox was empty. My bank account was nearly drained. I had lost everything. No more compliments. No one asking about me. No one caring. The people who once admired me, once wanted to collaborate with me, now didn't even bother to send a message. And the girl I had placed all my priorities on, she left. Very quickly, very coldly. She didn't betray me. She simply chose a man with a future. A man who didn't sacrifice his career for love. A man who wasn't as distracted as I had been. Does it hurt? It hurt like hell. I wanted to blame her. I wanted to blame circumstances. I wanted to blame everything, except myself. But then when I sat in that empty room, I realized one thing. Backhand index pointing right, I was the only one responsible for my failure. No one made me abandon my goals. No one made me miss opportunities. No one made me choose relationships over progress. I was the one who ruined my own life. That night I cried, not because I lost her, but because I realized I had betrayed my own dream. I had hurt the child within me, the child who once yearned to stand at the top, who swore never to give in to fate. The most painful truth was, no one cared, no one mourned my failure. This world is too busy to pity someone who's lost themselves. I had to go through the darkest days of my life after that. No money, no fame, no true friends, no clear goals. All that was left was suffocating loneliness and an unending sense of regret. Speech balloon, I share this with you, not so you pity me. I share it so you understand. Backhand index pointing right. If you keep putting relationships over goals, your ending will be just like mine, and probably worse, because time waits for no one. Every moment you waste today, tomorrow you'll pay triple the price. Trust me, I've been through it. But this is not where my story ends. Right in the midst of failure, right when all the spotlight faded, I found something, one thing that could save me. Amazing. Fire. We're diving straight into Chapter 3, the moment that marks a life-changing turning point. Hold on tight, because this part will be incredibly deep and explosive. Rocket Chapter 3, the wake-up moment. The dream no one can save except yourself. That night, as the wind howled through the window, I collapsed onto the bed, completely exhausted. My mind was empty, my heart weighed down. It had been so long since I felt it so clearly. Backhand index pointing right, no one is coming to save me. No family, no friends, no nobody. Everyone has their own life. And me? I was just another failure among countless others. I remember that moment vividly. I jumped up, walked straight to the mirror, staring at my haggard face, messy hair, and lifeless eyes. And for the first time in my life, I asked, do you still want to fight? No one to impress, no one to please, no one to prove anything to. Just my original goal, the purest goal, and myself. Collision at that moment, a spark flashed in my mind. I realized, backhand index pointing right, no one owes me anything. Backhand index pointing right, no one is responsible for lifting me up. Backhand index pointing right, only I, and only me, can save my life. If I want to succeed, if I want to live the life I once dreamed of, backhand index pointing right, I have to stand up. Backhand index pointing right, I have to fight. Backhand index pointing right, I have to start over from scratch. No excuses, no blame, no waiting for someone to rescue me. That night, I wrote a commitment. It wasn't long, it wasn't fancy, just simple. From today, I will live only to fulfill my mission. No more nonsense relationships. No more pointless promises. No more unrealistic dreams. Only goals, actions, and victories. I posted that note on the wall right in front of my bed, so that every morning when I opened my eyes, the first thing I would see wouldn't be sorrow. It would be the goal, the only goal, nothing else. I started with the smallest things. Exercising every morning, waking up an hour earlier, stopping pointless social media scrolling, learning at least one new skill every week, reading books about success, mindset, and business. I didn't do these things to brag. I didn't do them to prove anything to anyone. I did them to prove to myself that I am worthy. Exclamation mark. And you know what started happening? Little by little, day by day, I felt stronger. I started having new ideas. I began seeing opportunities one had once blindly missed. I started rebuilding relationships, but this time with like-minded people, those hungry for growth. Things were still hard, but the biggest difference was, backhand index pointing right, I was no longer the failure who pitted himself. I was a warrior, a person on the road to recovery. Speech balloon, I'm sharing this part with you so you understand. You have to choose. Either you remain a victim for the rest of your life, or you become the hero of your own life story. And that choice is one that no one else can make for you. Only you. Brain quote I cherish from this chapter. When you realize no one is coming to save you, that's when you become invincible. Fire, would you like me to continue with Chapter 4, Rebuilding from the Ashes, a lesson in absolute focus on goals? Type continue, and I'll keep the storytelling momentum high. Rocket, would you like me to add some inner dialogues to make the story even more emotional? Direct hit. If so, I'll add them right away. Awesome. Fire, keep that spirit alive, because Chapter 4 will get even hotter. I'll continue the story with the same deep, powerful, and inspirational tone you want. Are you ready? Rocket Chapter 4, Rebuilding from the Ashes, the lesson of absolute focus on the goal. After that awakening night, I knew I had to do one thing. Backhand index pointing right, rebuild everything from the ruins. But how would I rebuild? From where? With what? I had nothing left. No money, no reputation, no advantages. Only one thing remained, an unshakable will. I started with the smallest things that I could control, not thinking too far ahead, not dreaming foolishly. Backhand index pointing right, I only focused on doing the right actions in the present. 5 a.m., get up. 10 push-ups, even though my arms were trembling. 15 minutes of learning English, even though my head was heavy with fatigue. 30 minutes of reading personal development books, even though my eyes were barely open. No inspiration, no excitement, only cold discipline. I remember those mornings, waking up in the cold winter. Sometimes, my hands and feet were numb, and my eyes barely stayed open from exhaustion. But in those moments, I didn't allow myself to slack off. I placed the alarm clock far from the bed, not because I was afraid of being late, but because I didn't want to waste any second. Every day, I made the decision for myself, not circumstances or procrastination. Speech balloon, one morning, I asked myself, how long can I maintain this habit? A small voice in my head answered, as long as you don't stop. And from then on, I decided, backhand index pointing right every day, just be 1% better than the day before. Back-end index pointing right, no more, no less. Each passing day, I didn't just change physically, but mentally as well. I began to notice small things that I had never paid attention to before. The seemingly insignificant actions were actually the key factors in determining success. I began to understand that patience and perseverance aren't easily gained. It's a continuous battle between what I wanted and what I needed to do. Every time I felt like giving up, I had to struggle with myself. Those times, my determination didn't come from someone else's advice, but from the painful experiences I had been through. I started to rebuild my trust in myself. That persistence didn't come from a single instance of hard work. It came from daily actions when no one was watching, when I worked in the dark and no one cheered me on. It's a long journey that never stops. Little by little, I felt the change. Those sweaty mornings in the gym not only strengthened my body, but also sharpened my mind. When my physical health improved, I noticed my mental strength grew too. I no longer feared challenges. Collision, a huge lesson I learned at that time. Back-end index pointing right, success doesn't come from glamorous actions. It comes from doing small, right things consistently when no one is watching. If you only work when someone praises you, if you only try when someone is watching, back-end index pointing right, you will never truly reach success. Winners build their empires in the dark. When the light shines, people see the glory, but no one understands the pain they went through. One afternoon, I thought back to those days when everything seemed to slip away. Honestly, in those times, I felt like I was living in an invisible world. No one saw me. No one understood what I was trying to do. But now, I realized that loneliness was necessary for growth. Loneliness is the harshest teacher, but also the one that taught me patience and self-reliance. Everything began to change when I realized that success isn't the destination, but a journey. A journey I had to walk alone, overcoming every challenge, pain, and failure to rebuild from the simplest things. Things I had once ignored now became the solid foundation on which I could rebuild my life. Brain favorite quote after this chapter: every day you don't quit, you get one step closer to glory. Collision, and here's a powerful inner dialogue from the time when I almost gave up. I'm so tired, should I take a day off? No. One day off will lead to a lifetime of regret. Get up. Keep fighting. There were moments when I felt so exhausted that I didn't want to do anything anymore. But I reminded myself that fatigue is temporary, but results are forever. When I pushed my own limits, I realized one important thing. There are no limits except those we set in our minds. You see, from the ashes, a new flame can rise. If, and only if, you focus absolutely on the goal. Don't chase anyone. Don't need anyone's approval. It's only you and the goal you've chosen. Rocket, would you like me to continue with Chapter 5? The biggest mistake of my life. Letting emotions lead instead of reason. Type continue now. I'm ramping up the emotional energy of the story to a huge climax. Fire. Would you like me to occasionally add some beautiful quotes that you can use for thumbnails or video descriptions? Direct hit, if so, just let me know. Awesome. You've been keeping the fire burning really well. Fire. We'll continue straight with Chapter 5, following the growing emotional arc. Rocket, Chapter 5. The biggest mistake of my life. Letting emotions lead instead of reason. In my journey of recovery, I thought I had found the key to success. But then, I made a deadly mistake. Back-end index pointing right, I let fleeting emotions take the lead instead of maintaining my reason. That day, after months of effort, I began to reap the first results. My income went up. People started to pay attention to me. I received collaboration invitations from people who used to ignore me. Glowing Star, I felt excited. Glowing Star, I felt invincible. And it was at that moment that I let my guard down. I started spending more on unnecessary things. Accepting collaboration offers without proper vetting. Spending more time partying, socializing, than working seriously. Speech balloon, I told myself. It's okay to reward myself a little. I deserve a break after all my efforts. I was wrong. I was terribly wrong. In just 3 months, the results I had built up over the course of a year vanished into thin air. Incomplete projects. Partners who didn't keep their promises. A bank account drained dry. And most importantly, I lost myself. Gone was the cold discipline of the early days. Gone was the absolute focus on my goal. I let emotions comfort me into losing my way. Fire that was an expensive lesson. Backhand index pointing right emotions can be a driving force, but they should never be in control. Only reason, a clear plan, and iron discipline will get you to your destination. I will always remember one gloomy evening. Looking at my near-empty bank account, I asked myself, what did I go wrong? A small voice answered, you let your emotions defeat you, no one else. Collision, and in that moment, I made a vow to myself. From now on, whether happy or sad, whether successful or failing, every decision I make will be tested by reason, not by fleeting emotions. Brain, the hard-earned lesson. When success begins to knock, that's when the most dangerous enemy shows up, complacency. When you're happy, be disciplined twice as much. When you fail, stay calm 3 times more. If you can't control yourself, the world out there will teach you the hardest lesson. Collision, a memorable quote. You might lose because your opponent is stronger, but if you lose because of your own negligence, that is an unforgivable failure. Scroll a powerful inner dialogue in this chapter. Remember, no one can take your dreams away from you. Only you can destroy them with foolish decisions and lack of discipline. As I entered this phase of life, I realized, backhand index pointing right, every success has a price. Backhand index pointing right, nothing worth having comes easily. Backhand index pointing right, every small decision contributes to shaping your future. And then I started observing more deeply how the world works, the fundamental rules of success. It's a long process, but one that's very clear. The stillness of discipline. When you persistently stick to your goals, nothing can distract you. Discovering strength in consistency. Simple actions, repeated every day, will create changes beyond expectations. It's persistence through challenges that truly matters. Controlling yourself in every situation, you will always face temptations. But your ability to control your emotions will be the key to overcoming all challenges. At times, when I look back at my mistakes, the feeling isn't regret, but gratitude. Every misstep brought a lesson, a necessary awakening to keep moving forward. And when I realized that things wouldn't come from fleeting impulses or emotions, I understood. Emotions are not the drivers. Reason is the one in control. It is reason that will take you through all storms, cross all long rains, and finally bring you to the shores of success. So, the biggest lesson I took away from this mistake was, reason is the best teacher you can have. When reason leads, emotions cannot control you. And now, I can confidently say that I no longer fear failure. Every time I fall, I rise again, because I understand that success doesn't come from avoiding mistakes, but from the ability to rise up and learn from them. Rocket ready to continue Chapter 6, How I Rebuilt Myself Like Forging Steel, Cold, Hard, and Sharp. Great, you've kept your fighting spirit well. Fire. We'll continue with Chapter 6, a chapter that's incredibly powerful. Chapter 6, How I Rebuilt Myself Like Forging Steel, Cold, Hard, and Sharp. After the bitter failure, I realized, if I want to get back into the game, I couldn't keep the weak, easily swayed self I had before. I had to forge myself again. Colder, harder, sharper. Scroll Phase 1, Erasing Old Beliefs. I sat down, alone, in an empty room. No phone, no social media, no one else. I wrote down a question. What in me led to my failure? Then I listed love for pleasure, easy complacency, impulsive decisions, a need for validation, paying too much attention to praise. Collision, each line I wrote felt like a knife to my self-esteem. But I knew, if I didn't face this truth, I would always be a failure. I couldn't keep being weak, drowning in fleeting emotions anymore. That was when I decided to change, and I couldn't escape it. Scroll Phase 2, Breaking Down the Old Self. I committed to no more yielding to fleeting emotions. No more seeking validation from others. No more compromising with comfort. I accepted loneliness. I accepted being misunderstood. I accepted trading ordinary pleasures to forge myself into something sharper. This change wasn't easy. On long nights, I faced tough decisions alone. When my body was tired and my mind weary, I had to remind myself, only by fighting can I grow stronger. Scroll Phase 3, Forging the New Self with Steel Discipline. I set up new survival principles for myself. Every major decision must be written down and considered for at least 24 hours. Every day, I must do something uncomfortable that I dislike to train my endurance. I ask myself 3 times a day, is what I'm doing taking me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, I stop immediately. No justifications, no procrastination, no excuses. Every time I felt lazy, I forced myself to act. If I hesitated, I knew that was the moment I was falling back in this battle. In the early days, I wondered if I could maintain this level of discipline. But the answer was always clear: don't give up. It's over. Speech balloon, a short conversation I had with myself back then. Question mark. Do you want to be liked, or do you want to succeed? Exclamation mark, success. Question mark. Then why are you letting weak emotions control you? Exclamation mark, no more. It's over. My determination became stronger than ever. I no longer worried about what others thought of me. I only focused on becoming the best version of myself. Glowing star, I became a completely different version. No more wasting energy on things that don't matter. No more wasting time explaining myself to those who don't share my vision. No more letting emotions easily control me. I live cold like steel, hot like fire, and sharp like a knife. Every day, I challenge myself with difficult tasks, not only to become stronger, but also to keep my focus on my goals. I left behind everything that could not help me move forward. Brain of truth I engraved in my mind. The world does not reward the emotional ones. The world only rewards those who can control themselves and move forward with a cool head. In the most stressful moments, when faced with tough choices, I asked myself, what do I want? And the answer was always clear: I want success. And to achieve that, I had to suppress my emotions, make logical decisions, and never give up. Scroll a scene I'll always remember. One evening, while my friends were hanging out, posting pictures of laughter on social media, I was alone in my room, reading, writing plans, training, self-reflecting. Was it painful? Yes. Was I lonely? Very much. But I knew I was planting the seeds for a great harvest. I wasn't just rebuilding myself, I was building my future. Those were the moments of sacrifice, and I was ready to accept them. Rocket, if you're listening to me by now, remember this. Self-discipline isn't a game. It's a war. And the reward for those who survive is everything they ever dreamed of. There's no easy way. There are no shortcuts. Only discipline and determination. Fire, the next chapter will be even more intense. Chapter 7. Why the moment you dare to stand up, you've already surpassed 90% of the people out there. Awesome. Fire. Let's continue with Chapter 7, a chapter that truly hits straight to the mind. Rocket, Chapter 7. As long as you dare to stand up, you are already better than 90% of the people out there. Listen carefully to this. When you fail, what's the first reaction of most people? Back and index pointing right, they sit there. Complain. Blame others. Try to find excuses. But if you stand up, just simply stand up, you've already entered the remaining 10% group. Scroll a truth I realized. Once, after a major failure, I attended a networking event for startup entrepreneurs. That evening, the air was heavy with conversations about hardships in business. I looked around, observing. 90% of the people at the event were just chatting, complaining about the tough market. Only about 10% were actually asking questions, learning, taking notes, seeking solutions. When I saw these people, I realized something important. They didn't actually want success. They just wanted to feel like they were trying. They liked being heard and comforted, but they weren't doing anything to change their situation. I remember myself in the early days of failure. Each time I failed, I also wanted to sit still, blame circumstances, others, the market, bad luck. But then I woke up, and I realized the truth. Most people don't really want to succeed. They just want a feeling of trying. Scroll the sweet trap of failure sympathy. In this world, there will always be comfort groups. where the failures gather to rationalize their helplessness. They tell each other, everyone is the same. The market is tough, no one succeeds. It must be my bad luck, I should just give up. And they die in sympathy. They don't see that this sympathy is keeping them stuck in laziness and inaction. I remember the times when I too sought this sympathy. I tried to avoid responsibility, making my failures seem lighter. But then I realized that sympathy could never lift me up. Only action could save me. But I was different. I chose to stand up. And that's why I know I'm different from the rest. Scroll the reel, test did you know? I once did a simple test. I opened a free class with absolutely no charge for those who wanted to join. The goal wasn't just to help others, but also to see if people truly wanted to change and were willing to act. 500 people signed up, 200 confirmed attendance, 50 actually showed up, 5 applied the knowledge, 1 achieved results. What do you see? A 1/500 ratio. This showed me a painful truth. Not everyone is ready to act. Many people just join classes, events, or seminars because they like the feeling of being a learner, but when it's time to apply the knowledge, they skip it. Only a small number of people actually show up and get results. And I realized that just by standing up and taking real action, you've already surpassed hundreds of others. Speech balloon, a mental monologue I had at that time. Question mark, do you want to be like them? Or do you want to live your dream? Exclamation mark, I want the dream. Question mark, then stand up. Right now, scroll small actions. Big results, I didn't start with grand actions. I only did small things, wrote down lessons from failure, spent time reflecting on my mistakes, thinking about ways to improve myself, sent emails asking for feedback from successful people, learned the secrets and strategies they applied, gradually adjusted my strategy, focusing on every little detail, exercised regularly to build endurance. I realized that a healthy body was the foundation for all success. But every small action like that, day after day, created a massive difference. One day doesn't matter, but every day added up to a big change. And the final result is something everyone can see. Brain, a profound lesson I realized. When you persist in doing the things others only talk about, you will achieve the things they only dare to dream of. Rocket conclusion of Chapter 7. Don't stay in the crowd complaining. Don't let yourself be dragged into the spiral of those who only want to talk, but do nothing. Don't seek easy sympathy. Stand up and do the work. Take action. Stand up. Keep going. As long as you keep moving forward, you've already beaten 90% of the people out there. Fire and now. The journey will get even more intense. Next up is Chapter 8. The price you have to pay to truly rise above. Would you like me to add a small, real-life daily action exercise at the end of Chapter 7? If so, I'll add it for you to make it hands-on. Just type continue, and I'll dive right in. Rocket. Awesome. Rocket, let's continue with Chapter 8. And it's going to be an incredibly powerful chapter. Fire Chapter 8. The price you must pay to truly overcome. Listen, everyone wants success. Everyone wants an extraordinary life. But very few people are willing to pay the real price for it. Scroll a real story. I once met a young man named Alex. He came to me after a speech, his eyes bright. I want to succeed. I'm ready to do anything. I'm ready to work hard. I asked him, okay, so if I told you to work 16 hours a day for the next 3 years, no parties, no dating, no gaming, would you do it? Alex laughed, but then fell silent. He didn't answer. And I knew the answer was no. Scroll the bitter truth. Everyone loves talking about working hard until they see how painful and lonely it really is. You have to give up Netflix nights. You have to skip those useless hangouts with friends. You have to wake up when everyone else is still sleeping. You have to keep working when others have already given up. The price to overcome is loneliness, exhaustion, and sacrifice. Scroll the moment I realized. There were days. I worked until 3 a.m. I opened YouTube, and no one watched my videos. No one supported me. No one encouraged me. Not a single compliment. Just me and my dreams. Scroll a metaphor I really like. Imagine you're climbing a mountain. At the beginning, it's packed with people. As you climb a little higher, people start dropping off. The higher you go, the colder it gets, the more dangerous it becomes, and the fewer people remain. At the top, it's just you and a few others, the crazy ones who are driven by dreams. That is the price. And that is also the beauty. Brain, a priceless lesson. Not everyone deserves success. Only those willing to pay the price get to enter that world. Scroll the harsh truths you must be ready to face. White heavy check mark, you will be misunderstood. White heavy check mark, you will be criticized. White heavy check mark, you will feel lonely. White heavy check mark, you will have to work 5 times harder than others without recognition. White heavy check mark, you will fail and fail again and fail some more. Speech balloon, a commitment I once made to myself. I accept loneliness. I accept failure. I accept loss. Because I know that every price I pay today will transform into what I own tomorrow. Scroll, getting through the dark days. There were days when I felt so tired I couldn't continue. I thought about quitting. I thought about taking the easy way out like those around me. But I didn't, because I understood that it was in those weak moments that I had to be the most resilient. The price for success isn't something that happens overnight. It's a long, challenging journey. Rocket conclusion of Chapter 8. There is no cheap success. If you want to enter the world of the extraordinary, you must pay the extraordinary price. And believe me, that price is worth more than anything you've ever dreamed of. Fire, are you ready? We will move on to Chapter 9. Don't let desire control your goals. This part is really powerful, directly related to why chasing women instead of chasing your dreams will destroy your life. Awesome. Rocket, let's dive into Chapter 9. This is the ideological focal point of the entire journey. Chapter 9. Don't let desire control your goals. Listen closely. Yes, we need women. We cherish women. Women can be a tremendous source of inspiration for success. But if you make women your primary goal instead of yourself, if you turn love into an energy-draining game every single day, then congratulations, you've just sabotaged your own future. Scroll real-life story. When I was younger, I had a close friend named Chris. He had a big dream to become a millionaire entrepreneur. He was incredibly dedicated, staying up late, reading books, practicing skills, and investing in himself every single day. But then, he met a girl. At first, everything seemed fine, but gradually, Chris spent all his time texting her late into the night. Chris started neglecting his work to go on more dates. Chris spent money recklessly to impress her. His work began to decline. His ambition faded. Chris, who once had a bright future ahead of him, was now just a shadow of his former self. Scroll, why did this happen? Because Chris allowed desire to control his actions. No more logic, no more discipline, no more thirst for achievement. He traded long-term career success for short-term pleasures. Brain, a bitter truth. Desire is never satisfied. It only pulls you farther and farther away from your dreams, little by little, until one day you wake up and realize you've lost everything. Scroll, so what should you do? White heavy check mark, you must prioritize your goals first. White heavy check mark, you must build yourself into a strong man before thinking about relationships. White heavy check mark, you must make your career, health, confidence, and talent the most attractive parts of you. Do not chase. Do not beg. Do not lose yourself for anyone. Scroll, a key truth. Successful men do not need to chase women. Women will come to successful men. Don't believe it? Look around. The successful men, they always attract attention. Not because they're the most handsome, not because they're the richest from the start, but because they have value. Scroll, a lesson I learned from my $1 million mentor. One day, my mentor said, if you spend 80% of your time building your career, 10% developing your health, and 10% maintaining quality relationships, then in 5 years, you'll have everything that others will never reach in a lifetime. Speech balloon, here's the formula I follow. Brain, develop skills every day. Person, lifting weights. Male sign, train your body weekly. Fire, maintain high standards for the relationships around you. Rocket, keep your dreams and goals as the center of your life. Rocket, conclusion of Chapter 9. Chasing women will make you lose sight of your goals. Building your goals will naturally attract women and opportunities. Prioritize yourself, no compromises. Fire, ready to move on to Chapter 10. Loneliness is the price of the trailblazer. This is an incredibly deep chapter because the farther you go, the lonelier it becomes. Absolutely. Let's dive into Chapter 10, where we'll explore a powerful concept that many people rarely talk about, but it's crucial in the journey to success. Fire Chapter 10. Loneliness is the price of the trailblazer. Listen carefully, you are in a completely different game, and I want you to understand one thing. The price of success, the price of excellence, is loneliness. Scroll real life story. I remember vividly the first day I began my journey. I was just a guy starting a YouTube channel with only a few followers. No one knew who I was. Everyone around me was still preoccupied with gatherings, parties, and pointless conversations. They asked me, "Why don't you come join us?" I answered, "I'm building my future. I can't miss this opportunity." But they didn't understand. They laughed at me, thinking I was taking things too seriously. And I was lonely. Scroll loneliness began to attack. I couldn't attend gatherings that didn't add value. I turned down easy relationships just to maintain my focus. Every day I worked, feeling the coldness of loneliness creeping into my heart. But I knew this loneliness was the price I had to pay to build my empire. Brain loneliness is the companion of the trailblazer. When you move faster than others, you will start to feel lonely. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it so you understand a truth. Not everyone is willing to pay the price like you. When you have a clear goal, when you persist and never compromise, you will see the people around you gradually fade away. They won't understand why you pass up fleeting pleasures, why you refuse meaningless meetups. And so, you'll be alone. Scroll why is loneliness an inevitable part? Loneliness is the one thing that will help you stay focused on your goal. Loneliness is the only companion you'll have when you walk a path that only you travel. Loneliness is not a punishment. Loneliness is the choice of a winner. Brain the price of loneliness. I recall the early days when I started. I had to sacrifice a lot. I skipped parties. I chose not to participate in meaningless gatherings. I turned down tempting invitations with no long-term value. I did all these things for one simple reason. My goal was bigger than everything else. Scroll loneliness is not weakness. Many will think that I'm advising you to live in loneliness for the rest of your life. That's wrong. Loneliness is only a part of the journey. But during your development and climb to the top, there will be moments when you must face yourself with no one by your side. And that's when you truly unleash your strength. Scroll what loneliness can teach you. 1. Self-confidence. When there's no one else to lean on, you'll learn to rely on yourself. 2. Perseverance. No one will clap for you every time you do well. You have to create your own motivation. 3. Discipline. Loneliness will force you to become stronger, more disciplined, and more patient in every step you take. 4. Focus. When you're not distracted by unnecessary conversations, you can focus on your goals and achieve greater success. Rocket valuable lessons from loneliness. Embrace loneliness. When you start your goal, you'll see loneliness gradually appear, but that's a sign of growth. Create greater value. Loneliness is when you can create real value. Don't give up. Those who quit when faced with difficulty simply don't understand the cost of success. They can't sweat, can't endure loneliness, and they give up. Speech balloon the key to overcoming loneliness. 1. Love your goals more than anything. 2. Seek people who share your vision, people who understand and can support you. 3. Accept that sometimes you will walk alone. Rocket conclusion of Chapter 10. Loneliness is not punishment. Loneliness is the faithful companion of the winner. Loneliness helps you train, strengthen, and focus on your goals. If you want to be extraordinary, you must learn to love yourself during difficult times when no one is standing by your side. Fire Chapter 11. When a summit is no longer a dream. The summit, you may have once thought of it as something distant, something that only special people could reach. So why do I say the summit is no longer a dream? Simply because I have stood at the summit, and I can confidently affirm one thing. The summit is not a goal. It is a natural outcome of persistence and consistency. Scroll the beginning of the story. Recently, I attended a personal development seminar. There were thousands of participants people from all walks of life, from various industries and fields. Everyone had a dream. Everyone wanted success. One person stood up and said, "I want to achieve exceptional success. I want to reach the summit that everyone admires." Sound familiar, right? But I looked into his eyes and felt a bit of something unconvincing. He was chasing the summit like a child chasing its own shadow. He didn't understand that the summit is not a goal, but rather the result of a long and difficult journey. Scroll the summit. It's just the result of the process. The summit is not something beyond your reach. It is simply the result of a process of growth and relentless effort. When you persevere, when you set clear goals and never give up, the summit will come to you naturally. It's not about luck. It's about doing everything that needs to be done. Remember, those who stand at the summit are not special people. They're just people who never gave up on their dreams, no matter how many failures or difficulties they faced. Scroll the journey is more important than the destination. When I look back on my journey, I don't see the greatness of the summit. What I see are the long hours of hard work, the moments of fatigue, the difficult decisions, and the challenges that seemed impossible to overcome. The summit was not something I dreamed of. It was the result of commitment and consistency. The journey upwards is what truly matters. The summit is just the outcome of a persistent and unwavering process. Brain shifting the mindset from dream to result. Don't chase the summit. Instead, focus on your journey. When you focus on the journey, you won't feel tired or discouraged when you face challenges. When you work every day to improve yourself, the summit will come naturally. I no longer think of the summit as a destination. I see it as the natural outcome of steady steps and relentless efforts. Scroll build a solid foundation. Before you reach the summit, you need to build a solid foundation. This foundation is made up of the knowledge, skills, and relationships you accumulate along the journey. Don't let the summit become a vague and unattainable image. Make it the result of the decisions you make today. Scroll the summit is not a destination. It's a result. As I've mentioned, the summit is not something far out of reach. It's the result of relentless effort. When you persevere, when you do things right, and when you never give up, you will receive the reward you deserve. And that is the summit. The summit is the outcome of effort and process. Brain shifting your mindset. If you still see the summit as a goal, you'll never feel truly happy when you reach it. The summit only has meaning when you have done everything necessary to get there. Change the way you view the summit. Don't see it as a distant goal, but as an inevitable result when you do everything right. Directed conclusion of Chapter 11. The summit is no longer a dream. When you begin your journey, the summit is the result you deserve. Focus on the journey, on doing the right thing every day, and the summit will come to you naturally. Fire, get ready for Chapter 12. Action without waiting. In the next chapter, I'll share with you how to turn dreams into reality with concrete actions every day. We will continue this journey, and you will see results right before your eyes. Fire, Chapter 12. Action without waiting. Action. This is the key, the determining factor in everything. Without action, there are no results. This is something I have learned through countless years of effort, failure, and finally, success. So why do so many of us procrastinate, hesitate, and wait for everything to be perfect before we take action? Surely you've experienced the feeling of "I need time to prepare," or "I have to wait until everything is perfect before taking the first step." But the truth is, if you keep waiting, you will never move forward. Action doesn't wait. And here's why you can't let any excuse stop your progress. Scroll the story begins. When I started my personal development journey and my entrepreneurial venture, there were countless reasons that made me hesitate. I told myself I needed more knowledge, more money, more preparation, but eventually I realized one important truth. No amount of preparation is ever enough. When you begin, you'll encounter countless challenges that no one could predict. My story isn't one about perfect preparation. It's about taking those first bold steps filled with risk and determination. Action is the starting point of everything, and only through action will you reach your destination. Scroll waiting and procrastination, the dangerous trap. People often live in a cycle of procrastination. I'll start next week. Maybe I need one more course before I launch my business. I'm not ready yet. I'll wait until later. I've been there. I used to wait until I had enough money, enough time, enough knowledge, enough of everything to start. But looking back, I realized one thing. That perfect moment I was waiting for never came. The best time to take action is right now. Don't let any reason stop you from taking the next step. Brain the truth about action. You don't need perfection. Action is not about waiting for everything to be perfect. Action is the first step, and that step will allow you to adjust and improve along the journey. Success doesn't come from perfection. It comes from consistent action. When you act, you may make mistakes, but those mistakes will help you learn and grow. The key is not to quit. You don't need to be perfect, and that's why you need to start today. Scroll, every step matters. A small step can take you to places you never imagined. Start with small actions each day, with simple yet effective decisions. Don't let big, abstract goals stop you from acting. Focus on the first step, and as you take that step, everything else will fall into place. Action creates change. Scroll, don't let fear hold you back. One of the main reasons people don't act is fear of failure. Fear that they're not good enough. Fear of making mistakes. Fear that they won't succeed. But I want you to understand one important thing. Failure is part of the journey. Failure doesn't mean the end. It's an opportunity to learn and grow. Success only comes to those who dare to face their fears and push through them. Scroll, turn action into a habit. Action needs to become a part of your life. We can't just act when we feel motivated or when we feel inspired. We need to create a habit of action, a habit that doesn't stop. Do something small every day, but do it every day. Set small, achievable goals and start acting immediately. Scroll, why action is more important than waiting. Why is action more important than waiting? Because action is the only thing that can change your current situation. Only when you begin will things truly start to change. Waiting keeps you stuck, going nowhere. Action is the difference between dreams and reality. Directed conclusion of Chapter 12. Action doesn't wait. Take action right now. Small steps every day will lead you to great success. Never let procrastination and hesitation stop you. Only action is the way to change your life. Fire, get ready for the next journey. Results and process are never separate. In the next chapter, we'll explore how results can be the natural consequence of persistence and relentless action. Chapter 13. Results and process are never separate. Results, they're what we all crave. The visible proof of our hard work, the rewards that show up after months or even years of dedication. But here's the thing, results are not just the outcome of your efforts. They are the inevitable consequence of a well-defined process. We often focus solely on the end goal, that shiny, finished product. We want the success, the recognition, the reward. But without the right process in place, the results will always be fleeting, uncertain, and hard to achieve. So why is the process so crucial? Because results do not come from luck, chance, or magic. They come from a consistent series of actions, small habits, decisions, and improvements over time. The journey is the destination. The process is the foundation. Without one, the other cannot exist. Scroll, the process is the key. Let me share a little secret. Results are the outcome of actions performed consistently over time. The process itself is where the real transformation occurs. It's in the daily grind. It's in the moments when no one is watching, when you feel tired, when things aren't going as you planned. This is where character is built. This is where your skill set sharpens. This is where you prove to yourself that you're capable of handling challenges and overcoming obstacles. In my journey, I realized that the process often feels mundane. It's about showing up day in and day out and doing the work without expecting instant gratification. It's about learning and adapting, failing and trying again. And the more you commit to the process, the closer you get to the results you desire. It's not about the big moments. It's the small steps that add up. It's the routines you create, the discipline you develop, and the habits you maintain, even when you don't feel like it. Scroll, why the process needs patience. One of the hardest parts of any process is waiting. waiting for results to manifest, waiting for the recognition, the growth, or the breakthrough. But here's the key. Results take time. You can't rush the process. You can't skip the steps. The best things in life are built slowly, over time. Success isn't something you wake up with overnight. It's something you cultivate step by step, day by day. The process teaches you patience. And patience, as difficult as it is necessary for growth. Without patience, you give up too soon. Without patience, you skip important lessons. Without patience, you rob yourself of the growth that only time and experience can bring. Scroll: a mastery of process leads to mastery of results. The secret to long-term success is mastering the process. When you master the process, the results are inevitable. Imagine learning to play a musical instrument. You don't become a master overnight. You spend hours practicing, refining, and learning the fundamentals. At first, it might sound awful, but after consistent effort, you start to see improvement. Eventually, you're playing songs you once thought impossible. Success is the same way. You cannot rush mastery, but when you commit to the process, the results will follow. And they'll be more meaningful because they're the product of your own relentless pursuit. Direct hit conclusion of Chapter 13. Results are a direct reflection of the process you engage in. Don't chase after success in a rush. Learn to love the journey. Embrace the process, trust it, and watch as the results manifest over time. Remember, results and process are never separate. They are one and the same. Without the process, there are no results. But when you commit to the process, the results will be yours. Get ready for the next journey. Embrace the struggle, because success lies beyond. We will now explore how to embrace the inevitable struggles on the path to success, and how those struggles forge you into the person you need to become to achieve greatness. Chapter 14. Embrace the struggle, because success lies beyond. Struggle. It's a word many people shy away from. It's something we all try to avoid. But let me tell you something. Struggle is an essential part of growth. Without struggle, there is no progress. Without discomfort, there is no transformation. We often want success without the struggle. We want the glory, the recognition, the rewards. But we don't want to go through the tough times, the failures, the moments where we feel like quitting. However, it's precisely in those moments that true growth happens. Scroll: the struggle is the key to becoming who you need to be. Think about the times in your life when you faced hardship. Maybe it was a setback in your career, a relationship falling apart, or a personal failure. During those moments, it felt like the world was against you. But what you didn't realize at the time was that those struggles were shaping you into the person you needed to become. The path to success is not a smooth one. It's filled with obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt. But each struggle is an opportunity to build resilience, to sharpen your focus, and to develop a mindset that can withstand any challenge. The greatest achievers didn't avoid struggle. They embraced it. They saw it as a sign that they were on the right path. Because success lies beyond the struggle. It's through the struggle that you are forged into the person capable of achieving your dreams. Scroll: success isn't about comfort. It's about resilience. We live in a world that celebrates comfort and ease. We're constantly told that if something is difficult, it's not worth doing. But the truth is, comfort doesn't lead to success. Comfort leads to stagnation. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you must be willing to step out of your comfort zone. You must be willing to face discomfort, endure hardships, and keep moving forward despite the odds. Resilience is what turns dreams into reality. The road to success is paved with obstacles. But each time you face one, you grow stronger. Each challenge builds your mental and emotional fortitude. And eventually, you'll find that success isn't just about the destination. It's about the person you become in the process. Scroll: the power of persistence in the face of struggle. Success is a test of persistence. Anyone can work hard when things are going well. But true success comes from continuing to push forward when things get tough. Persistence is the ability to keep going when others would quit. It's the determination to keep learning, growing, and striving. Even when progress seems slow, even when it feels like you're getting nowhere. When you embrace the struggle, you become a force that cannot be stopped. The people who succeed aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who kept going when everything seemed impossible. Scroll how to embrace the struggle. 1. Shift your mindset. View struggles as opportunities for growth. The more challenges you face, the stronger and more resilient you become. 2. Focus on progress, not perfection. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. 3. Keep your eyes on the bigger picture. Don't let temporary discomfort deter you from your long-term goals. Success is the result of overcoming struggles. 4. Trust the process. Trust that each challenge is a necessary part of your journey. Success is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to overcome it. Direct to conclusion of Chapter 14. Success doesn't lie in avoiding struggle. It lies in embracing it. The struggles you face today are preparing you for the success you'll experience tomorrow. Keep pushing forward. Embrace the tough times. Trust that success is on the other side of your struggle. And remember, the strongest trees grow in the harshest winds. Prepare for the next chapter. Victory comes through mastery. In the next chapter, we'll dive into how true mastery is not about perfection, but about consistency, learning, and refinement. Stay tuned. Chapter 15. Victory comes through mastery. Mastery. It's a word we all hear, and it's something we all aspire to. But what does mastery really mean? Does it mean being perfect at something? Does it mean reaching the top and never looking back? Or is mastery something deeper? Something that requires continuous growth, commitment, and humility? When I first started on my journey, I believed that mastery meant having all the answers, being the best, and achieving success in record time. But over the years, I've come to understand that mastery is not about perfection. It's about consistent improvement, learning from mistakes, and refining your craft. Mastery is a lifelong pursuit. Scroll mastery is a process, not a destination. Too many people chase success without understanding that mastery isn't a destination. It's a process. It's a way of being, a commitment to constant improvement. The masters of any field, the athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, and innovators, don't stop once they reach a certain level. They continue to push their limits, challenge themselves, and refine their skills because they understand that mastery is an ongoing journey. True mastery doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's shaped by time, effort, failure, feedback, and the willingness to improve. You won't become a master overnight, and that's okay. What matters is that you start the process and keep moving forward one step at a time. There will be plateaus, there will be setbacks, and there will be moments when you feel like giving up. But these are the moments that test your commitment to mastery. Will you continue to put in the work when the results don't come immediately? Will you keep learning when you've already put in countless hours? Will you embrace failure as a learning opportunity? If you can answer yes to these questions, you're on the path to mastery. Scroll the power of consistency in mastery. The road to mastery is paved with consistency. It's not about working hard for a week, month, or even a year. It's about committing to your craft day in and day out, no matter the obstacles. Consistency doesn't just build skill, it builds character. It's in those daily efforts that you develop the mental toughness, discipline, and resilience necessary to succeed. When you consistently show up, even when you don't feel like it, you build a foundation for mastery that can withstand the toughest challenges. This is where most people fail. They start strong, get excited, and give it their all for a short period of time. But then, when they face the inevitable setbacks and obstacles, they stop. They give up. They look for shortcuts. The key to mastery is staying committed to the process, even when the progress seems slow. Mastery isn't about short bursts of effort. It's about creating habits, systems, and routines that keep you improving consistently, day after day. Scroll learning from failure is crucial to mastery. Failure is an essential part of mastery. It's not something to be feared or avoided. It's something to be embraced as a valuable teacher. Think about the greatest masters in any field. Whether it's Michael Jordan, Albert Einstein, or Steve Jobs, they all experienced failure. In fact, failure was one of the main things that fueled their growth and eventual success. They didn't let failure stop them. They learned from it. When you fail, you gain insight into what doesn't work, what needs to be improved, and where you can grow. Each failure is a stepping stone on the road to mastery, as long as you choose to see it as a learning experience rather than a defeat. The most successful people in the world have failed countless times, but each time, they picked themselves up, adjusted their approach, and continued moving forward. Don't fear failure. Learn from it. Use it to refine your process. This is the heart of mastery. Scroll the role of feedback in mastery. Mastery is not a solitary pursuit. You can't get better on your own. You need feedback, you need mentors, and you need people who will challenge you and hold you accountable. Feedback is the mirror that reflects where you are and where you need to go. It can be uncomfortable to hear, but it's crucial for growth. The best in any field actively seek out feedback. They surround themselves with people who are not afraid to tell them the truth, who push them to be better, and who help them see their blind spots. Mastery involves humility, the ability to listen to others, accept criticism, and learn from it. Without this, you will plateau. Seek feedback from those who are where you want to be, from those who have walked the path before you, and from those who can offer fresh perspectives on your work. This feedback, combined with your own experience, will help you refine your craft and move closer to mastery. Scroll mastery requires passion and persistence. One of the most important factors in achieving mastery is passion. Without passion, the long hours, the setbacks, the failures, and the struggles will feel meaningless. Passion is the fuel that keeps you going when the road gets tough. It's the reason you keep showing up, even when things aren't going well. But passion alone isn't enough. You need persistence. Passion will carry you for a while, but persistence will carry you through. Persistence is what keeps you going when you don't feel like working, when the results aren't showing up as fast as you'd like, when the critics get loud, and when self-doubt creeps in. Persistence is what separates the masters from the rest. Don't be afraid of putting in the long hours. Don't be discouraged by the slow progress. Mastery takes time, and it's worth it. Keep working, keep learning, keep improving, and victory will come. Direct hit conclusion of Chapter 15. Mastery is the result of relentless effort, consistent practice, and the willingness to learn from failure. It's not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. Embrace the process, seek out feedback, learn from your mistakes, and keep pushing yourself every day. Victory doesn't come to those who wait for it. It comes to those who are committed to mastering their craft, step by step. Success is not about reaching a moment of perfection. It's about striving for excellence and continually improving, no matter where you are in your journey. Mastery is the key to lasting success, and it will carry you further than you ever imagined. Prepare for the next journey. Success is not the end, it's the beginning. In the next chapter, we will explore what happens when you finally achieve your goals, and how the true journey of success begins only after you reach your initial destination. Stay tuned. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you found the messages in this video helpful and applicable to your life, don't forget to hit like, so I know you're truly changing and growing. Thumbs up like this video to support and help me continue sharing even better content in the future. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel right now so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Hit the notification bell so you're always the first to receive the latest videos, full of inspiration and valuable knowledge from me. Every video is a step forward in the journey of personal development. Let's continue on that path together, because your future will never be the same if you don't take action today. Once again, thank you for watching, and don't forget to share this video with your friends if you feel it's helpful. We'll meet again in the next videos. Rock it!